teensiest bit smug because she'd met Hunter in one of the woodworking classes she taught at the local community college and had recommended that he apply. "It's possible I know just the person," she'd said, and she, too, had been right. He looked good on paper, and though neither Julia nor I had the courage to specifically ask him the "Do you talk to cats?" question during the interview, his sense of humor had sealed the deal. I looked over at him now. Hunter was thin, almost a foot taller than my 5 feet, and had hair cut short to keep the welding sparks from burning holes in his head. Or so he said. I was fairly sure it was an excuse to run his electric shaver over his head once a week and save the hassle of getting an official haircut, but it was a good story, so I didn't call him on it. In some climates, I said, March is like a calendar photo. Hyacinths, apple blossoms, daffodils. Shh, Hunter whispered. Do you want Eddie to hear? He'll make you move somewhere warm and sunny. Arizona. Maybe New Mexico. I scoffed. He wouldn't like it there either. Too hot in the summer. Fur coat, remember? Mrr, Eddie muttered. Hunter leaned down and peered through the cat carrier's wire door. Sorry, bud. Looks like you're stuck with Michigan. Oh, I wouldn't say stuck. I flicked the blinker and turned off the road and into the parking lot of a white-clapboard township hall. Sure, it's dark and dreary, and the snow is still glopping down. I nodded at the wafting snowflakes, but a month from now the world will be transformed. Hunter nodded. Yeah, that's pretty cool, isn't it? I parked on the far side of the gravel lot, and we quickly ran through the opening routine. Unlatch Eddie, rotate the driver's chair 180 degrees to serve as a computer chair, detach the bungee cord that held the castered chair, fire up both computers, and unlock the door for all who wished to enter. Which was, at that point, a total of no one, so we continued our mutual admiration of springtime in Michigan. With Eddie observing from the passenger seat headrest, we'd agreed that the worst part of this season was the eager wanderings of the skunk population, debated merits of purple versus yellow crocus, tied, 1 each, marveled over the fact that lakes could still be iced over while daffodils were blooming, mutually admitted to toe-curling delight when seeing the first hint of green leaves on maple trees, and had moved on to the topic of setting up a guessing contest of when the snow pile behind the library would completely melt when we jumped at a loud voice. You two actually enjoy this kind of weather. Hunter and I turned as one unit to face our first bookmobile patron of the day. I smiled at the elderly man. Good morning, Mr. Valera. I didn't expect to see you for another few weeks. Mr. Valera, who regularly threatened me with, Call me Herb, or I'll call you Ms. Hamilton, finished climbing the stairs, shut the door, took off his knit hat, and banged an inch of snow onto the entry rug. His patrician silver hair did not, as my curly-haired mop would have, bounce in all directions at once. No, his hair did as he commanded and stayed where he wanted it to. That demanded respect by itself, let alone his innate kindness, empathy, and intelligence. If I'd been smart, he said, stuffing the hat into his coat pocket, I would have continued my retirement habit and stayed in Florida until late April. But no, I was lulled into complacency by the weather of the last week and thought, like a fool, that spring was here. Last week had been sunny and mild, with temperatures warm enough to make you think about hauling the patio furniture out of the garage. I'd seen some people do that, but most of us knew better. Personally, I didn't move the snow scraper from my back seat into the trunk until Memorial Day. My beloved fiancé had recently said that was because I simply forgot, but I said it was caution, which made him ask why this was the one thing I was cautious about, which made me start citing a list of things that made Minnie Hamilton cautious, something that didn't go well because once I'd listed 1, pending asteroid collision, and 2, the library's postage machine, I'd spent so much time defending those 2 items that I'd refused to make the list any longer. Hunter interrupted my list reminiscing by introducing himself. Due to his varied schedule and because we were still revising bookmobile routes, this was the first time he'd been at this stop. Good morning, young man, Mr. Valera said, shaking hands.